Hello, everybody, and welcome back with a continuation of my first book reading, Lord of the Flies. And I'm at chapter 5, and this chapter is called Beast from Water. Here we go. After missing the ship and the signal fire going out because of Jack and the boys' preoccupation with hunting, life for Ralph takes on a new seriousness. He walks on the beach considering the boys' initial enthusiasm for the island. How their original ideas for keeping order has broken down, and the poor prospects of imminent rescue. Having decided to call on assembly, he's anxious that does not degenerate into a pointless fiasco, as it has previously. He thinks beforehand, this meeting must not be fun, but business. As the boys gather, there is an air of solemnity, even over those who did not witness excuse me, Ralph's anger about the fire going out. The atmosphere is additionally somber, because it's much later in the day than the meeting are usually held. Before starting to speak, Ralph considered the weight of his responsibilities as chief. He recognizes the need to be able to think rationally and systematically as important requirements for a leader. He also realizes that Piggy has a capacity for clear thinking and begins to regard his fat companion with newfound respect. Ralph opens the meeting by setting out ground rules about how it is to be conducted, so that nothing stalls the impact of the few simple points he wishes to make. In a plain ordered fashion, he raises 5 issues which he feels are central for their survival and well-being. The first 4 are practical matters which provoke little discussions or argument. He explains the need for fresh water, the need for shelters to be built, the necessity of using one agreed place as a lavatory, and, most important of all, the need to keep the fire going if they are ever to be rescued. As their elected chief, he insists that these rules are adhered to. The 5th and final item on Ralph's agenda is the fear, or the beast. It is the only matter on which he will allow discussion, and understandably the only matter about which many of the boys are unable to express their feelings. Jack, now regarded as a proven hunter, discounts the notion of the beast being a real, tangible creature. Having been all over the island and having found nothing larger than pigs, he regards the idea as nonsense. The beast is therefore, he argues, intangible, a product of the Littlands' imagination, and he berates them for their cowardice. Pig agrees with Jack, in part. He too rejects the idea of the beast being a real thing, using his knowledge of science and natural logic. He also dismisses the notion of the beast being a creature of the imagination, but does so with sympathy and understanding. The only fear worth considering is the fear of people. And at this point, one of the Littlands comes forward and admits to having a nightmare and to seeing something moving about in the forest. It turns out that it could have been Simon, who is then rebuked for frightening the Littlands. Another little boy, Percival Remus Madison, is coaxed by Piggy into telling his story. Unfortunately, he ultimately dissolves in tears, which produce near hysteria in the other younger boys. It is only Maurice clowning and his return to the subject of the beast that enables order to be restored. His mention of giant squid, however, produces further distress, and Ralph blows the conch for silence. Simon feels the need to speak and takes the conch, but has neither in the language or the opportunity to express his notion of evil. Piggy's attempt to discount the existence of ghosts is interrupted by Jack and then put to the vote by Ralph. In the gloom, it is difficult to assess the outcome, but Piggy still insists that ghosts do not exist. Jack's contempt for Piggy and his lack of respect for the authority of the conch and Ralph as leader lead him to disregard the rules. Jack leaves and the assembly breaks up in disarray. Ralph, Piggy, Simon remain to consider their problems. Ralph contemplates giving up as chief. Piggy fears for his own position if Ralph were to relinquish his title. They all long for adult support. I wish they could send a sign or something from the outside world. Their thoughts are disturbed by Percival, Remus Madison crying in the darkness. And then that was the end actually of chapter 5. And then there's a little comment section like in the previous chapter I did. And it goes as followed. Although the chapter is called Beast from Water, in deciding on the fear, a number of explanations are put forward. These range from real wild creatures to the giant squid to human beings as a source of fear. Unreal phenomena are also considered. Fear created by the imagination, fear of evil, or fear of the supernatural in the form of ghosts. Notice how each suggestion is received by the different boys. This chapter marks the beginning of a break in the relationship between Ralph and Jack, and the division of the boys on the island into two factions. Think about who would be in each group and how they might behave. That's that, people. Thank you very much for watching, and yeah, I'll catch you in chapter 6, which will be called Beast from Air. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.